We're starting with the harmless darling of the modern age, cannabis. It's the drug of the hour, legalized by politicians, glorified by pop culture, and sold by millions as a natural remedy with zero downsides. But biology doesn't care about your marketing. THC, the psychoactive core of the plant, is a master of disguise. It mimics your body's own endo-cannabinoids, molecules like Anandamide, which normally keep your reward system, memory, and pain perception in balance. As soon as that smoke hits your lungs, THC floods your brain and hijacks your CB1 receptors. In the hippocampus, your memory center, it creates a noise that makes it impossible for neurons to signal correctly. Time stretches, colors get more vivid, and even the worst joke suddenly feels deep. But here's the catch. While you think you're relaxing, your brain is actually entering standby mode. That brain fog isn't a side effect, it's the program. Long-term use can actually shrink the gray matter in your amygdala. People who live in a green haze don't necessarily lose their lives, but they lose the drive to change them. It's the drug that makes you comfortable with your own mediocrity. Welcome to the world of chemical manipulation. Welcome to the truth. Alcohol, the legalized poison. After the joint comes the glass. Alcohol is the only poison on earth where you have to justify not consuming it. It's a blunt depressant that flattens your central nervous system like a steamroller. Once ethanol crosses the blood-brain barrier, it's a double-edged sword. It jacks up the activity of GABA, the neurotransmitter that throttles brain activity, while simultaneously blocking glutamate, the brain's main on switch. First, your social anxiety drops, then your judgment, and finally, your motor skills. You call it a happy hour drink. Biology calls it a slow-motion shutdown of your prefrontal cortex, the part of you that makes you human. Every year, alcohol kills 3 million people worldwide, yet we toast to our health with it. The paradox? Alcohol makes you feel brave, while simultaneously making you incapable of using that bravery for anything useful. The hangover the next morning is your nerve cells screaming as they try to recalibrate the chemical wreckage you left behind. It's not just a headache, it's neuroinflammation in real time. Caffeine and nicotine, the system's whip. If you think you're drug-free while sipping your morning coffee, think again. Caffeine is the world's most consumed psychoactive substance. But here's the secret, it doesn't give you energy. It's a chemical squatter that occupies your adenosine receptors. Adenosine is your brain's waste product that builds up all day to tell you, you're tired? Go to sleep. Caffeine pulls the plug on that warning light. You're still exhausted. Your body is begging for rest. You just can't hear it anymore. When it wears off, the adenosine crash hits you like a wall. Then there's nicotine, the most efficient slave driver in chemistry. Within 7 seconds, it hits the brain and triggers a massive dopamine explosion. But it's a short-lived high. Nicotine mimics acetylcholine, amping up your heart rate and blood pressure instantly. The irony of smoking or vaping? That relaxation you feel is just the temporary cure for the withdrawal caused by your last hit. You aren't calm, you're just feeding a monster you created. It's a junkie cycle, disguised as a lifestyle. Cocaine and MDMA, chasing the peak. Let's talk about the hard stimulants. Cocaine is ego in powder form. It blocks the reuptake of dopamine, leaving your brain drowning in pleasure signals normally reserved for basic survival. Like eating or reproducing, you feel invincible, brilliant, electric. But the hardware can't handle that voltage. It forces your heart to work at 200% while constricting the very vessels that feed it. The crash, the come down, is a plunge into a black hole of paranoia and fatigue. Cocaine doesn't give you power. It lends it to you at an interest rate that will eventually bankrupt your heart and your mind. MDMA, or ecstasy, is chemical empathy. It forces your brain to dump its entire supply of serotonin all at once. You love everyone, you understand the universe, and you feel infinitely connected. But serotonin doesn't grow on trees. It takes weeks for your body to rebuild those stores. After the party comes Suicide Tuesday. your brain is fired empty. That love was a laboratory illusion, and the price is an emotional numbness that can lead to long-term clinical depression. Psychedelics and dissociatives, LSD and ketamine. LSD isn't a high. It's a complete operating system override, with no warranty. It manipulates 5-HT2A receptors, forcing the visual cortex to connect directly with the emotional centers. The border between you and the world dissolves. While some find enlightenment, others find absolute horror. A bad trip is simply your brain unable to process the sensory overload. LSD opens doors in your consciousness, but there's no guarantee you'll ever be able to close them again. Ketamine goes the opposite way. As a dissociative, it detaches the mind from the flesh by blocking NMDA receptors. Originally an anesthetic for veterinary medicine, it leaves you floating above your own body in the K-hole. It shuts down pain, but it also severs your connection to reality. Chronic use doesn't just detach your mind. It physically destroys your bladder and kidneys. It's a chemical exorcism of the self that often leaves you colder and more detached than you were before. The end of the line, opioids and meth. At the bottom of the food chain, the destroyers are waiting. Opioids like heroin or fentanyl offer the ultimate security. They mimic our natural endorphins, but with 100 times the intensity. A warm blanket of pure euphoria that erases all pain, physical and emotional. It's the perfect trap. Your brain quickly stops producing its own painkillers. Now, without the drug, even the air on your skin feels like sandpaper. Once you've felt the warmth of opioids, the real world feels unbearably cold. Forever. And then there's methamphetamine, the nuclear gas pedal. It floods the system with so much dopamine and adrenaline that your brain's hardware literally melts. It triggers a fight-or-flight response that lasts for 12 hours. It robs you of sleep, hunger, and eventually your very identity. Meth gives you the energy of a god for an hour and leaves you as a total wreck afterward. It's the theft of a lifetime, one hit at a time. The end. At the end of the day, every drug is a deal with your own biology. We manipulate our receptors to feel better, stronger, or happier. But chemistry doesn't give out free gifts. Every high is a loan that your body calls in with interest and heavy penalties. We are biological machines trying to hack our own software, usually with fatal consequences for the hardware. Stay sharp, stay rational,